special guest, Andrea Stadthalter. And Andrea has been on the as a co-host before, and more importantly, has really been a participant in the chat and reaching out to other people to help them who are on this show. And if you've never been on the show, it's really for you, and that's what chat's for. So we'd love to follow your lead by knowing what you want us to talk about, share an issue, share a triumph, right? Whatever can help the people watching helps everybody. And we've got Alex on already.
Hi, Alex.
And with that, I'm going to introduce Andrea, and she'll touch on a little bit of who she is and kind of what she sees in the future of things of this nature. Andrea?
Hello, nice to be here again. Yes, a little bit about me. I'm certified self-love life coach. Actually, I certified in life coaching and mediation. I had my personal journey. I have been with a narcissist, and I have had a bad drinking habit. And one night I had an accident being out with my friends, and because everybody had been drinking, they couldn't take me to the hospital because I fell over June. So I had to wake up my son, and I will never forget his face when he saw me, when he saw my face in pieces, and his eyes said everything, and it was shock. It was also a bit of a hate, and the question of how far will she take this. And I decided there and then it was time for me to change. And we were in hospital. He then informed my sisters, and this is how my journey started. And I left my husband, and I started a complete new life, totally different, loving myself, which I did not. Of course not, because otherwise I wouldn't have damaged myself so much as I did. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a bit my story.
Yeah, and what I've learned about doing this every day for 7 months is everybody has a story. Everybody has a life that they've lived, high points, low points, and what the key is what it all brought you to where you are right now, right?
Yeah.
And where you are right now can determine where you're going to be in the future.
Exactly.
And right, and if you can have a vehicle that you can transition through, which is a support group, which is a knowledge sharing group, which is an empathetic group, it makes it easier. Too many people have taken on too much responsibility, and a lot of it hasn't been theirs even. It's just to make things right, they keep giving a piece of themselves to someone else, and they still got a full load to carry with less of what they could have. And I think that's the key to broadcasts like this. That's the direction me and Andrea are looking at, is how do you take a platform and reach more people with a universal message that can really make a difference. Every day on this show, someone's learning something new, someone's feeling more validated into who they are and what they want to be. People are finding friends, and this filters from the mob that's out on the posting, commenting, and it's just so challenging that when you get an island onto the sun, right, that you can collaborate with people like yourself. And then you can use this to get more people. So in essence, what you're doing is you're pulling 800 million people who are, let's say, in a crowd, and selecting people to come over to the lifeboat. Christine's here. Hi, Andrea, I can relate. I came on here today to calm down. I feel like I'm on the verge of imploding.
Yeah.
Christine, I so appreciate you And I remember Feedy. I will never forget. Thank you for reminding me. It's so important because I know how important people's names are. And when you mispronounce it with best intention, it is good for people to speak up. And, it's also good for people to accept constructive criticism and do it, with respect. And to your point, I'm so happy we have a show, even if just all you showed up and felt better after this. And that's all you have to do is trust your heart to tell you, am I a better person? Do I have a better attitude an hour after watching this than I did before watching it? And then what is that going to mean to the next person I come in contact with? What's your thoughts, Andrea?
Well, first of all, you said something about getting validated by others. That is not important to me anymore because I learned I should validate myself first. Yes. And I had also a discussion about this with my sister this last weekend. And she was saying that it always hits a person when somebody has a comment, a negative comment also about you as the person. And I said, it's just slipping off my shoulders nowadays. I don't have that anymore. I learned that it says more about them than it says about me. And if you have that mindset, then life really becomes easier. It's on the other side of where self-love is. The grass is actually greener. I always say that the grass here is actually greener, and the flowers have more colors, and the whole world has more colors. And it's exactly as I said. The world is much better on the side of self-love, and it's very important that we have the right mindset. And many people speak about knowledge, and get your skills, and you can get so many skills as you like. And I am really an example for it. I've done many courses, and if you don't have the right mindset, you can forget about it. You will procrastinate. Yes, because it has to be well, let me explain it like this. There is the aunt Andrea, which that is her conscious mind, is going to is getting all the skills, and the aunt Andrea is ready, and she's heading south. But then Ollie, the elephant, is her subconscious mind, and her subconscious mind is filled with negative thoughts. I'm not good enough for this. I'm not good enough for that. Yes, I have this course, but I can still not do it. Blah, blah, blah. So that elephant is heading north, and the ant is sitting south. So you need to bring them together. And the only way you can do that by switching your mindset and actually saying to yourself, hey, I am good enough. I can do this. And this is how I did it when I started my healing. I told myself, okay, you can do this, Andrea. Shoulders under it, and you go. And this is how it was. Yeah. And I think it is important for us to bring this message to those out there who are still searching. I have this nephew of 27 years old, and of course I am the boring aunt, and he doesn't listen to me, but he will eventually listen to a third party who is talking about exactly the same. Yes, the same message, but from a different person. And I remember when I was young, or when I was a child, I didn't want to hear it from family, but as soon as it came from a third person, I could accept it. I don't know. Didn't you have this, Donald, when you were young, that family members were telling you this and that, and you thought,
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny you say that because I had a lot of uncles, great uncles. And when you're young, you're kind of like innocent. So when an older person, a bigger person tells you something, right, you think they know something. And then they continue to tell you these things. But somewhere I came to a conclusion, who are these people and what have they accomplished with this information? And I said to myself, if I listen to them, I'll be like them. And early on, once you find yourself and you're comfortable with it, and first of all, other people, like you say, won't intrude if you have that confidence and that strength. But to your really important point, there are so many people who need this that don't even know what it is, haven't heard about what we're talking about, let alone where to find it.
Yeah.
Right? So this is like a beacon, that says, hey, if like Christine, if you're having a tough day, maybe this will get you over the edge for a while, as opposed to what people usually go to, which is caffeine or whatever you want to add to it. And I think it's important. This is not just that's why the business side doesn't even come into play here. Because to your point too, is when you have a quality, valuable, service-oriented mindset, your thoughts are better. And more importantly, your decisions to go forward come easier, right? Where you can have it all together and then, well, I'll wait till tomorrow. Well, I tell you, tomorrow never shows up.
No.
And I always say, when people say, I'll think about it, I say, well, if not now, when? If not with us, who? And you can always go back to whatever you had. And that's really the key, is people need a push once in a while in the right direction. Where they're in the middle, just tell them, what do you got to lose? And, action gets rid of fear. The more active, the more involved you are. You don't have time to worry about what isn't here when you're dealing with what is here. It's only when you're dealing with nothing, and then your thoughts take over, right? And now you got a fight between you and yourself until you decide, I'm tired of fighting. So most people could fast forward. Here's a comment. While I do think my mindset has improved greatly in the last few years from personal growth, my problem now is that I'm still overdoing, and I'm still looking for a gold star at work and at school and God knows where else. It's almost like I can't. Well, one thing, Christine, you're identifying everything really well. You know what I mean? So everything is kind of on the plate or on the table. And it's hard when you want to please too many people with too little time and too little energy, and that's when something's got to go, right? You don't want to overwhelm yourself. Plus you want to have some room for reflection, for review, some quiet time. I mean, if you don't schedule for yourself, no one's going to schedule it for you. Right? No one's going to say, hey, why don't you take a rest for an hour? You're working too hard. If nothing else, they'll say, hey, can you do something else? They say, if you want to get something done, find a busy person. So what's your thoughts, Andrea?
Yeah, I can, Christine, you need to choose your identity. Do you want to be the Christine who is searching for the star or looking for the star from others? Or do you want to be Christine who is a star? Start telling yourself every morning, go and stand in front of the mirror and say, Christine, you are a star. High five, I am here, the star Christine. And it works. It really works. It takes 30 days or so, and then it comes by day, and you start feeling, hey, here is Christine, the star. You don't need the star from anybody else, not from any school or at work. You are the star. You are good as you are. More than enough. That's my my message to Christine.
Well, and I would take that message as being a sincere, heartfelt message back. So, Alex, yes to needing to hear it from a friend, not from mom or dad or aunt for that matter. My aunt, luckily for me, is only 6 years older. more like a friend. Well, you know, to that point, Alex, you know what you know, right? And if you know what works and who works with you on it, that's all you need. You know, too many people are going back to the well and there's nothing there and there never was there, but it's wishful thinking or relying on hope instead of, you know, reality. What's your thoughts on that, Andrea?
Yeah, I think, well, as I said, Alex says, okay, he has an aunt who was only 6 years younger. They're more like friends. And yes, it is true. We do have family members or friends who we like to listen to. But when I talk about my 27-year-old nephew who's going through the world and is looking at their aunt, and especially me, who had this bad past between, I mean, they all saw me drinking in those days, and it takes a while before they can accept me or before they can see me the way I am now. And I am happy with this. And I actually recommended a book one of my coach friends wrote, and I said you should read this. And I said to Richard, I told my 27-year-old nephew to read your book. And he then said, yeah, and when he has read it, you will say, see, I could have told you so. I said, no, I have learned not to do that anymore. You know, we all have to make our own choices. I am there for them, but if they choose to find it from somewhere else, then it's their choice. And we have to accept this. I cannot, not everybody can like me, or not everybody can like what I have to say. You know, it's as simple as that. We cannot be loved by everyone. And just imagine if how that would be. I mean, if I would be loved by everyone in this world, I couldn't even go outside without hugging thousands of people every day. Yeah, wouldn't that be a lot of stress in the end? Because you go one step, two step. Oh yeah, here's one. Hi, how are you, Andrea? Oh, I love you so much. Yeah, it has to be in how do I say that in English? It has to be uh portioned. Like you can't expect everybody to love you or to like what you have to say. It's impossible. You reach some and you don't reach some. That's how it is. And I think when I reach one person a day, then I've done a good job.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, everybody's important. You never know what that one person impacts other people around them.
Yeah.
You know, and the better you take care of yourself, the less anybody else has to take care of you, right? So, you know, your health is the most important thing because without that, nothing else really matters that much. And here's Dean again. He says, if tomorrow never comes, well, one day
Yeah.
tomorrow won't come. You can depend on it. So use the day you have and
Mm.
enjoy yourself. And if you can't enjoy yourself, find people who can help you enjoy them and you, right? I found putting positive words on my mirror to start my
That's
day
a good
off
one.
is good. You know, anything that works for you, you know, because that's what's important, not what works for other people, not what you're going to think. So many people live their lives for other people who don't think or care that much about them to begin with. You know, why pray to a false god? You know what I mean? And that's where inside is where you need to begin, not the outside. People are looking for bigger house, bigger car, bigger this. It doesn't, it makes you smaller inside because the more stuff you got, the more stuff got you, right?
Mhm.
Now you got to take care of it. Kelly says, and Kelly's just, I can't talk enough about it. So to Christine's points, sometimes we overachieve in order to prove our unconscious story wrong of not being enough. Lord knows I have done that. Well,
I know. Yeah.
it's, you can tell yourself any story anytime if you choose to. You can be anybody in your mind that you choose to. And, it's just like if you go to get your eyes checked, they always say left, right, 1, 2, and eventually it focuses, right? So many people get out of focus, and instead of correcting their vision, they start to try to change the world to what their vision was, and you can't have a foot in the past and a foot in the future. You're not going to go nowhere. So, I think what's so cool about this is people are not only sharing how they feel about it, but really giving advice that's constructive. And this will continue forever on, this show will be seen for years, and if it helps one person every time, once a day, forever, what message are you sending? And that's so cool. So thank you so much, Kelly. You do so much for so many. Thank you, Andrea. I needed to hear that today. I used to have a sponsor that told me to tell myself I'm a beautiful spark of the universe every day. I fell out of the habit. Habits matter. What do you think, Andrea?
Yeah, yes, it's habits matter. That is for sure. And you're welcome, Christine. If the one thing is people they talk about, okay, let's have a good habit, but you have to think about exchange your bad habits with a good one and then start using them. And it only takes a while, and that habit becomes a lifestyle. It's for example, when you decide to eat healthy, yeah, and you start with day one and then day second, and before you know, you're 30 days further, and all of a sudden you love the salad which you didn't like before, for example, yeah, or your muesli in the morning, or your yogurt and your fruit, and that works with every habit. And it's also working with telling yourself that you are good enough the way you are. And I don't know if I've done this before here, but I'm going to do this. And Donald, you have to go along as well. It is, imagine, close your eyes, and I will send you to an island, a tropical island, and there is nobody there. You are completely alone. It's a deserted island. You are there on the beach, and you are enjoying the sun. You hear the palm trees in the wind. And remember, you are alone. You have no add-ons. You have no husband, no partner, no uncle, no auntie, no kids, no colleagues. Not even your dog is there. You are completely alone. And at that very moment where you feel content, I'm asking you to rate yourself from in a number to give you a grade between 1 and 10. And I'm waiting for your answer. What is your number going to be? Now, let's see what's coming. No? Nobody? Well, I don't know how long it takes before we would get an answer here, but I want to give you this message. If you have decided for yourself that you are a 7 or an 8 or a 9 or even lower than that, some people will say a 5, you're all wrong, because you all are a 10. And that has to do with the fact that you are worthy as matter of being. When you come here on earth, that is your worthiness. That is nobody. When you came on this world, your parents didn't look at you and they didn't say, he, she, they're 5. They cannot walk yet, and they cannot feed themselves yet. They dirty their diapers. No, when you came, you were a 10. And always remember that. And that is the part of self-love. Your worthiness was given to you at that very moment. There is nothing you need to add to feel worthy. And it's so often I hear that people say, They are worthy because of having done this or that. No, it's BS. Yeah, you are
Mhm.
worthy as you are the moment you came here, and everything else is adding to your self-esteem, which is another component of self-love. That's it. Isn't that great? When I heard that the first time, I thought, oh my goodness me, hey, this is so beautiful, so easy. I can live with that. Yeah, I am
Right.
worthy. Yeah.
You're just a fountain of knowledge and really just wonderful insights that people can really try on for themselves, right? I mean, this is all, how you wake up in the morning,
Mm,
how you talk to yourself, how you plan, and here's the thing is what fun are you planning today, right? When are you going to laugh today? What are you going to laugh at or with?
mm.
And why not put that in? Why should that be the last thing on the list? Everything can wait because you're better when you're better, right? When you go in more whole, more healthy, more positive. It's just like personal appearance, right? There's a point where you say, okay, this is acceptable. If you go to mindset, and if you're walking towards somebody with a mindset that's negative, it's going to transfer in the first thing or how you look, if nothing else, even if you can hide what you wanted to say. And I think that's what we're talking about today is authenticity. Whoever you are, accept it, enjoy it, make the most of it. If you think of what you're not, then you're not going to fix it. You've given up. You
Yeah.
know, right? So what's your thoughts, Andrea?
I would say living dead alive.
Mhm.
That's how I called myself, how I lived before, dead alive. I went through life without feeling or not acknowledging my feelings. I was dead alive, and that is such a sad path to be in. And when I see people living like this, my heart goes out to them, but I cannot force them to listen, yes, or wanting to change. That is a commitment you need to make, and it must come out of your tummy, your gut feeling, that you really think, oh, there must be so much more in life than there is now, and let me go and find it, let me go and work on it, and so that I can find it. And the one thing I always advise is also, people have a problem with being in the now. They think about the day before, or even further back, the past, or in the next day or the future. And I think I did I a long weekend without any clock, no watch, no phone, just no time. And I had to feel what time it was in the morning. Oh yeah, there was the light. Yes, when the light came up. But when you're like 3, 4 hours later, and then you think, oh, what time will it be? So you start following the day by following your tummy. Oh, I could eat something now. Oh, I'm thirsty. You become so aware of yourself and that present moment. This is now, and then the next step. And like this, you also learn to take action, because it's not the clock that is telling you, oh, it's 1 o'clock, I should eat. Yes, so many people live by the time schedule. Okay, I have my breakfast at 9, I have my lunch at 1, I have dinner at 6, and at 8 o'clock I have my tea, and then I go to bed. No, just take a long weekend. When you have a long weekend, put everything away and then follow your body clock. Yeah, and it works. It's you become aware of yourself in the sense of your feelings, and that's how we start working on awareness. Huh? And then of course you start putting down your thoughts in a journal, and you think, why am I thinking this? What is this? And the one thing I learned is also th- looking at the thought you have. Is that my thought, or is that somebody else's thought? And I came to the conclusion that it wasn't purely my thought that I wasn't lovable. It was given to me by my aunt, my grandmother, not my aunt, my grandmother. She also thought I was not lovable. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
and
not.
go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh no, I'm saying is that really comes down to taking the time, like you say, and reflect and ask why, and even
Yeah.
ask people who confuse you why to help you. Right? Everybody knows what people say to you. The question is, why did you say that, or what would you expect me to think after hearing that? Right? And who's going to take responsibility? And if people just kind of suck it up or smile and then inside burn up,
Yeah.
that's not a good system,
No.
right? And what happens is you start thinking less of yourself than even the other person after a while for being weak or telling yourself you know better, you said you wouldn't do this, and now you lied to yourself, right? And if you can't be honest to yourself, how are you going to be honest to anybody? So, Christine, you always have the questions, but you also have the built-in answers that are so important. It looks like we lost Andrea for a second here, and let me move to Linda. I was driving, have discipline. So, okay, yes, we are all 10, but sometimes life tries to make us feel lower. But learning life will fluctuate, and learning you are an inspirer of day. Smile, lift. Well, that's also positive and important because, everybody's going through something at some time. Uh, and knowing there's people around you that are there to support you is so important. Omar says, good morning. Have a great Tuesday. Uh, Christine says, I was dead alive too. I see Andrea's trying to get in, but has a dark screen. So we'll have to wait till that improves. Oh, here she is. Hi,
Sorry about
Andrea.
this. I didn't pay my electricity, so I went back. No, my laptop wasn't plugged in, and I didn't notice, and all of a sudden it went all that. I'm sorry about that.
No, glad to have you back. And actually, when we started the show, my laptop showed power wasn't connected, so I caught that just in time.
Oh,
Christine was
okay.
following up on what you were mentioning, Andrea, which is I
Mm.
was dead alive too. I was so lost like a bag in the wind. My life is the same, but so different now because I woke up and I'm grounded in gratitude. Well,
Yeah,
sometimes it's sad to say people have to go through what they have to go through to get to where they make a decision, right?
yeah,
If there's one positive to really hitting rock bottom is when you come out of it, like Andrea says, uh, happiness and the other side is so much prettier, right? Because you have a comparison, to what was. But more importantly, you have compassion for people, like Andrea says, who are going through what she went through. And they, how they feel, what they're living with. But you can't force anybody. And I
no,
think by having a third party, like Andrea says, who you may want to listen to, because they don't have any skin in the game. They don't know you. You don't know them. When they leave, they go they leave alone. Um, those are important. Kevin's here. agree with this, great. Nice to have consensus. Maria's here. Maria's a regular. We were talking eventually it might be breaking out and having a European group, So,
Yeah.
as we get more members here, then we can start building these working groups where actually people can go hand to hand and share issues, problems, and solve them or build opportunities. So, I can't thank everybody enough for what everybody's done. And these comments, are so important to really getting down to where we need to be and making this a better show and a better network. And having co-hosts, yeah, a little brighter, yeah. So, what do you think about the comments today, Andrea?
I think they're great. It's important that we share what we have been through, and people relate to what we have been through, and they have similar experiences. And reading that somebody like Christine is saying, I was dead alive too, it's not it's nice to know. I mean, I know I wasn't alone, but when somebody is saying I was there too, it's excuse, excuse me, it's just a wonderful feeling.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's where most people have a challenge, is that they think they are alone. They think they're the only person who is dealing with this because they don't talk to people. They're not always seeking support or help. And a lot of people feel responsible to be self-sufficient. They think reaching out or sharing is a sign of weakness. And in most cases, it's a sign of strength, right? That now you're willing to take what was a difficult step or an impossible step at times. And it's just growing. What we're seeing in this environment we're living in, right? And all this overwhelming communication and socialization, it's too much for most people to take. They didn't grow up like this. This is unusual. And so I think it's smart when you say, okay, let's take like-minded people and go off into, an island onto ourselves. So how are things in Europe, Omar says? Sunny, I guess. Right, Andrea?
Yeah. I was saying to Donald, I have been celebrating Carnival for the last 3 days, and I have a cold. No wonder, because it was in costumes. I took part in the parade, and yeah, it was cold, 8 degrees, and there was no sun. And as it has to happen, today was the first time. There were 3 days cold, and it was foggy. So it was not nice. It was not nice, but we had a lot of fun, a lot of dancing and singing. And so when you are active like this, you don't feel the cold. But it would be nice if it would have been a bit warmer. Yes.
Well,
So
that's February, so
yeah, it's February.
yeah.
But
So
we had better weather in February before. But yeah, you don't know. You just don't know. You just accept as it is. Yeah, because everything will pass.
yeah. If it's not this, it's that. So it's always going to be
Yeah.
something. And as long as you're able to deal with things in a way that's comfortable for you. Not everything you deal with is going to be comfortable, but you can deal with it comfortably, right? In your own time, in your own way. I always found if I'm not ready for something, then take another day, right? Why not do it right and just do it fast and look back and say, why didn't I do a little thinking here? How many times you commit to something way too early and now you got to figure, I really don't want to do this. Omar says, so nice, awesome. Ambimbola is here. Ambimbola is from Nigeria.
Yeah, I used to live in Nigeria.
Oh, really? No kidding. Hello, everyone. Came in late due to very bad network here since morning. Okay, so what's your experience in Nigeria, Andrea?
Oh, the people are they're beautiful. I learn, I think I learned to accept things as they are when I lived there. My extended family there, they taught us that little things are important and not the big things in life. Yes, they happy with what they have. They have their beliefs. They have their religion. They get up in the morning and they always smile. And when I first came into Nigeria, I thought, how possible that they all smile? But they're just happy. They're just happy people. They're not, let me say it really straight, they're not spoiled brats like my children were in those days. They had everything. And now they could see that children didn't have everything. And yet they were happier than they were. And it was a good experience for all of us and also my children and my son. And my son, when we left, in those days they just had the 200 naira bill. It was all new. And he said, Mom, do you think when I am grown up I can go back to Nigeria and spray the people with 200 naira notes? I said, I'm sure you can. And you know, spraying is giving away, spraying people with money. It was so yeah, it was really a nice experience. And I believe what you give will always come back to you. And I had really nice experiences in Port Harcourt where we lived at. When they first saw me, they were screaming, "Oh, Yibo, Yibo!" That's the one without color, right? And when I left, they called me auntie.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and it's what you give always comes back to you. And I had many people say, yeah, well, it's a lot of corruption in that country. Yes, there is, but it is where is it not? Yeah, there are, in every country there are people who are corrupt. And the thing is, when you treat them the way you would want it to be treated, then you have no problem. Oh, Yinbo, yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, it I we had a fantastic time. And I am the patron of Talk Love Africa Foundation in Nigeria. And I used to do some volunteer work in homes for kids with disabilities. And yeah, I had a good time. I really had a good time. I can't say any otherwise. And I hope that someday I will go back. But you need an invitation. You can't just enter Nigeria. That's the
Mm-hmm.
difference. Yeah.
Okay. So you know what's so cool about this is I have an Ambimbola here. You now reignited a memory that you had that was real positive and was able to share it with everybody. And that's the beauty of this. Someone triggers something, but it's positive. You know, it's a moment that was hidden, but was still lived. And other moments that were lived just as much stick out in people's minds. So you got to ask yourself, like a playlist, why did I choose these memories, these thoughts to focus on today? Right? Just like if you went to your wardrobe and said, what am I going to wear today? What am I going to wear in my head today?
Yeah.
You know, to make me more beautiful from the inside and not worry about the color or the shade or the style, you know? And it's really priorities. Where do you put your time and energy, right? the outside or the inside. You can do both, but be balanced at least. Here's Christine. I have heard the same negative things about Nigeria, but I used to work for a company that did business primarily with Nigeria, and I found the people I dealt with very open, funny, and professional. Well,
Yeah.
to that point, Christine, everything in the world is like this. Ignorance never serves anybody well. And when you take someone else's ignorance and make it your knowledge and then share that, you just amplify it. But until you experience it, until you open the door and walk through it, until you actually meet people, because you know what I know for sure? Everybody in this world, the majority, just wants to live a good life. They want to take care of their family. They want to do things they have some fun with. It's the small amount who now have a big amplified ability to broadcast that would have never been allowed when there was 3 or 4 TV networks, right? Everybody told the same news, maybe different people. But anyways, uh, you could say that about every country, right? There always are going to be really good people. Here we go with are very lovely and friendly and hardworking people. We just aren't to always have bad leadership. Well, in today's world, everything is getting more bottom up instead of top down. And what we're doing today doesn't have boundaries, doesn't have restrictions, doesn't have leaders. It's just us. And
Yeah.
enough of us working together can at least help us. And as we get helped, we can help other people. It's always reaching down that you're going to get most support, not hoping someone reaches down to you, because if you wait too long. And whatever is going to be. You can do things for others while you're waiting for yourself. And it's just getting busy, right? Hire yourself while you're waiting for someone to hire you. Give yourself a job title. Give yourself requirements like 8 hours a day. I'm going to do this. And I hope the universe appreciates it. But if nothing else, you're getting better while you're waiting, and that's where your value is within you, So what's your thoughts, Andrea?
Everything starts with us. That's
Mhm.
really that is so true. Everything starts with us. It's not only your own personal development, but actually how you treat people makes a difference in life. And it's a choice you need to, I won't say need, it's a choice you have. And you should, yeah, not even should. It's up to you how you want to use it. I want to be kind. I want to be loving. I always was like that. And it's just by making the wrong decisions, being with the wrong man, the wrong men, let's put it that way. I I gave up on myself. And I'm so glad that I found myself again. The Andrea who I was when I was younger, when I was small. Yeah, when I was a kid. And I love that kiddo stuff about me. Yeah, that's it. Because it's so much easier to give and to be kind than it's so energy. It's drawing
Mhm.
so much energy from you when you are unkind, when you're not loving. And I think, yeah, when I see that, when everybody should see this, here we go again. I would like everybody to see this, but that is then when I say that, that's my ego speaking, right? So from my heart, I wished that life would be easier for many people, more people than now, and we forgot to love ourselves. It was given to us, and then from the age of 7 we started to be programmed by our society, parents, aunties, uncles, and all our surroundings, and we just picked it up and believed that it was correct, and moved on with that knowledge, and with that making wrong decisions, because my mom or my dad could not know, could not possibly know that this or that was meant to be for me. No, it had to be my own choice. And now that I've made my own choice, and I am often alone, but I am not afraid anymore to be alone. I love it. I
Hmm.
love being content, content being alone. I can play my music. I can irritate myself, for example, and not others, right? So yeah, it's a choice. It is a choice.
Well, that's terrific. And Christine wants to know, we are glad you found yourself again, too. I have an off topic question. Did either of you lose your train of thought? LinkedIn Live shows what happens in real life to me, so that's my biggest concern. Well, Christine, I know you're coming on for the first time for your own LinkedIn Live, so that may have something to do with it. But yeah, I lose my train of thought all the time because there's so much activity. I mean, there's comments, there's the other individual talking, there's you looking at making sure everything's working. But that's why I love LinkedIn Live. It's more forgivable. If I had to create a video and edit it and script it, first of all, I don't like that. That's not me. If it works for some people, that's terrific. And that's the way they should do it, is what works
Mm,
for them. To me, I want to live in the moment, think in the moment, talk in the moment with people in the moment with me, because that's where it is. If you do something 3 days ago, that's where you were 3 days ago, and you're going to deliver it to somebody 3 days from now, and you have no idea where they're at, and it just leaves too much to be desired. And, at the end of the day, if authenticity is key, people respect you being authentic. I forgive myself so fast. I take responsibility immediately. I'm accountable. And then I say, I've just pardoned you. You're free again. And not to do the same thing, but to get up and do something. When someone passes you the baton in those relay races, right? You don't sit and talk to them. You don't look back. You just start running, right? And when you get your day,
yeah.
right? What are you going to run with it? And why not? Can you save a day for tomorrow? Will tomorrow ever come? And I always believe what you give is what you get. And to Andrea's point, what really is so cool is I'm getting older. I'm happier living through others than doing it myself, because have you ever had something like 100 times that's really delicious, and then you meet somebody who never tried it once, and you would gladly give your portion just to see how they think the first time, because you always remember the first time. Oh, that was so delicious, or you have relatives that used to
Yeah.
bake or cook or something, and you taste it. It's like, boy, I wish I could have another bite of that, or I could be, because food is love if it's prepared right. And I'm just picking one thing out, but anything I have that I've taken for granted, it's like your wardrobe. If you're never going to wear it, why not share it with someone who would appreciate it? And I think when you get that idea that I win if I can even help someone win, and then anything from that is gravy. But people love to be recognized, appreciated in a genuine way, because there's so little of it. Usually in relationships, it's already been prescribed. The family's already in place. You just enter it, right? And then you, like you say, get impacted by it. Your workplace has already pretty much been what it is, and now you got to fit. The beauty of these LinkedIn Lives and what we're trying to build here is stay as spontaneous, as in the moment, as responsive, as fresh, because you're going to get real
Mm.
stuff in real time. So, Andrea, I know we got to lock it up in a couple minutes. Any final thoughts that you have?
Well, there is this quote of Mother Teresa's. It says, "Be honest, be transparent. It will make you vulnerable, but do it anyway." And I love that one. When I read it for the first time, it felt so much, I felt so at home with it. Huh? And my sister says, "Oh, she can talk, she can easily, right? She has many people behind her correcting whatever she does wrong, for example. But I don't see that at all. I see she's right. Be honest and be transparent. There is nothing, I don't have the feeling that I would give anything away from myself. There is always enough left for me. Whilst in the past, I was careful because I always believed that there was nothing left for me because there I didn't love myself. Yes. So there was nothing to give. I mean, and if we don't know how that feels, this loving yourself, how can we possibly love someone else? Uh, you don't know, how it is like. Yes. And people they talk about appearances, and I love myself because my legs are not nice, or my nose is too big, or it's things like that, right? And I think my oldest sister is the best one to have a discussion with about these things. And she also was thought that nobody can love oneself for 100%. And I thought, where is this coming from? So that had to do with appearances, and it's not. It's coming. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's from within, your character, your attitude towards others and towards yourself, the respect. Yeah, and if we cannot respect ourselves, and how could we possibly show respect to others?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
think that's just so valuable insights and advice, because here's the thing: if you don't love yourself, how can you love somebody else? Well, how can that other person love you? You know what I mean? So you're both coming
another
out
one. Yeah.
as right, because that's how you're coming across. Um, and the other aspect is if people don't love your authentic self, they're not gonna love your fake self either, right? So just accept that those are not
Yeah.
the people. That song, "Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places," right? You don't
Mm.
want love from everybody, like you said at the beginning. First of all, it'd be too much, and you couldn't handle it. And the second is, it may not be the kind of love you want,
Mm.
right? So you should always be the chooser. Ambin says we can't love people well enough. We don't learn to love ourselves. You know what? You got nothing but time with yourself. You're stuck with yourself until you're out of here, right? Why not use that time alone to build for yourself? While you're trying to build somebody else's dream, start putting one brick on another for your own dream. And every day, if you see the pile getting bigger, you feel you accomplished something.
Yeah.
They say it's not the destination, it's the journey that's so valuable. If that was the case, why don't you read the last page of a book and you're finished, right? Why do you want to come to the end before you even had a chance to
Yeah.
enjoy the beginning or the middle? And usually it's because it's not your story you're living. When you have
Yeah.
your story and you're passionate about it, you want to take time to savor it. When you have a delicious meal, you don't just throw it all in your mouth and swallow. You bite a little bit more. You taste a little bit more, and life should be savored. Too many people are racing through. They're racing to get somewhere, and when they get there, they don't want to be there. They're racing to another place instead of just being happy and then maybe getting happier. Why not start at happy instead of how do I get myself even and then maybe get myself ahead? So with that, I can't thank everybody enough. It's been just a wonderful hour. because of so much great advice. And this will be viewed 4 times more when it gets posted than when it's seen. So
Okay.
that's another multiplier, you know. And we're getting 16 hours of viewing time for one of these on the same day, and then from ever it'll grow. So great platform. Always happy to have Andrea on. She's just speaks from the heart, and really is sincere in enjoying the help that she can bring to other people. So get to know Andrea more, and we'll talk again tomorrow, 11 a.m. every day of the week. Bye for now.
Okay, bye. Thank you for having me.